Welcome back to the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy's e-learning program. I am Mrs. Janelle Dillon Shepherd, your tutor for Principle of Business. Today we are moving on to section 2 of the syllabus, to which we would look at the internal organizational environment, where we would focus on the functions of management. Your objectives at the end of class, you should be able to describe the functions of management and as well to be able to outline the responsibilities of management within an organization. So guys, I want us to look at this picture for a minute and focus on what is happening within the picture. Look at inside of the building, outside of the building, and then we would talk about what is actually happening. Okay, so let's focus on the picture. Within the building, we are seeing that students are doing whatever they desire. So we are seeing a lack of management, probably of administration, teachers, etc. Outside of the building, we are seeing an absence of following traffic restrictions or traffic rules. And as well, lack of following rules and regulations. All right, so in terms of this picture, should be some terms of management of the school, principal, teachers, different persons within there that should be regulating what happens within the school, as well as society. We should be seeing where police officers and traffic wardens or litter wardens should be placed to ensure things are run efficiently and effectively. All right. Just as within your homes, you have your parents that would oversee and ensure that you follow simple rules, manners, chores, doing your work, and so on. All right. So today we will be looking at management and how management interacts, or the different functions that they should actually follow within a business. All right. And we can actually use that within our everyday teaching and learning. So what is management? Management is coordinating all the factors of production. We looked at the factors of production last class: land, labor, capital, and combining the three should give you a successful enterprise, and actually bringing them together to ensure that the organization runs efficiently and effectively. All right? But who conducts the management function? That person is the manager. What does that person do? That person leads the people and all the systems within the organization, ensures that the people within the organization have the resources and the finance and everything needed to ensure that all tasks are done both effectively and efficiently. All right? So an organization is run by a manager, which performs all the management functions, which we would now get into. So we have 7 management functions. It starts from planning, organizing, then we have directing, controlling, coordinating, delegating, and finally motivating, which heads right back to planning. All right, so let's go with the first one, planning. Planning is basically looking ahead to the future. Planning is about coming up with your mission statement, your vision statement for the organization, and ensuring that it's in line with your objectives. All right. Planning is about sourcing your resources that you would need to carry out your day-to-day operations within your organization. And in order to succumb or not to get or to curtail any risk, you should plan in advance. All right, so planning is very important. And planning starts before the operations of the organization actually begins. All right, moving out of planning, we are going right into organizing, which is also very important. And organizing looks at the factors of production. And the factors are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Right? So you have to ensure you have all those resources in terms of land, somewhere to set up your business. In terms of capital, we need fixed and working, so we need raw materials to do business on a daily basis. We need equipment and machinery to operate as well. You need labor, whether it's semi-skilled or skilled labor, or managerial and professional. And as well, you need to ensure that your business is run efficiently and effectively. All right? And within organizing, the manager would ensure that each task, or give the information to the employee day to day to ensure each task is done on that specific day, right? And that the tasks are handed down to the employees or the supervisors. So today as well, we'll be looking at persons within an organization, which we looked at different departments last class. So you have supervisors, line employees, and so on. So information should be passed down in a school. You have your principal, your vice principal. You also have your deans and your HODs, and information would be passed down to such, right? So organizing is a whole school or the entire organization coming together to ensure that this is done. Then we have directing. Directing is ensuring that all the tasks and all assignments or all duties that are supposed to, all the tasks and all the duties that are supposed to be done within the organization are done by who? The employees, and the employees range from lower level employees to supervisors, to line managers, to managers, to the CFO, CEO themselves. All right? And they should ensure that everything or every task that is given is clear and that it is achievable within the specified time in the organization. For example, when I took my students to Nestle has 3 different shifts, and the 3 different shifts at times are given a goal. So let's produce 1 liter milk within a specified time, and who or whichever shift does the best would get some sort of incentive, a bonus, days off, something like that. All right? And if managers or supervisors see any mistakes happening within the organization, it will help them to correct any mistakes. So when you direct, you would see what is actually going on because you know what the tasks are. If the employees actually did the task, if they understood what they were doing, first of all, did the task in an achievable manner, and if there's any mistakes, you correct those mistakes. All right? Then we have controlling. Controlling is all about monitoring. Monitoring who? The employees within the organization. And why do you have to monitor the employees? Because you want to ensure that all the tasks are done efficiently and effectively, right? And at the end of the year, in most organizations, you do a performance appraisal to which you would say how you would have performed your tasks during that period, right? So it looks at your performance as well. Within the organization, every organization have standards, and standards need to be followed to ensure that things are done properly, things are done safely, and especially if you're within an organization that exports goods and services, you have to meet a particular standard in order to go out into the world, right? So therefore, we have supervisors checking or supervising, actually doing their jobs, right? All activities that are happening within the production department, within the marketing department. Remember, we had those departments in the last class, within the finance department, to ensure you have checks and balances within your financial statements. If any mistakes are made, it could throw off the entire department and as well the organization. So we need to be careful. All right? Next function, coordinating. Ensuring that the same factors that we talked about, land, labor, capital, and enterprise, ensuring we have all those resources. Resources are very important for us to function within the business, and also to ensure those departments do what? work together. We talked about that in last class. So production does not work in isolation to marketing, and marketing does not work in isolation to finance, and finance does not work in isolation to HR. They all work together. All right, just reminding you of the different departments in a business. Okay? And as well, the manager would also delegate some responsibility, and that is sharing of the workload across the organization, which gives employees a sense of freedom and responsibility to show the manager what exactly they can do, how innovative or creative they are, and it helps the manager to free up his or her time so that they can have time to plan and time to organize and actually do all the other functions that are necessary. All right, so it makes the organization more competitive. The managers, as I said, they have more time to plan and more time to make decisions. And it helps the employees to do what? They feel empowered because they're seeing themselves as a part of the management as well, because they're now able to do tasks on their own, make certain decisions on their own, and those things lead to being creative, innovative, and showing to their boss that they could actually do work without being supervised. All right? And last but not least, which is one of the most important functions, motivating. Right? Motivation is very important for employees. It helps them to function, as I said, efficiently and effectively. And there are two types of motivation. You have intrinsic, which happens within, and you have extrinsic, right? So those persons who have intrinsic motivation, they basically, they know who they are, where they see themselves in the next 5 to 10 years, probably running the same organization, or, you know, coming up with new projects and stuff like that. They're enthusiastic about what they do for work. And then you have those who just need an extra incentive, whether it's a day off or a bonus or a hike in salary or promotion or something like that. All right? So motivation basically helps employees to do what they need to do the task and the duties that they are assigned to do. And you have different incentive that you can give to different employees. Everybody is not the same. I know for you as students, your mommy will say, okay, if you do good at the end of the term, I'll buy you a bike. And that's your extrinsic motivation. So mommy put a carrot in front and a stick behind, because you know if you don't do good, you're getting the licks, right? All right. So these are the different functions that management basically do within a business place. Take a 15 seconds and see if your parents do the same thing at home, right? Do they motivate you? Do they delegate responsibility to you to see, you know, if you're becoming of that age where you're mature and they can trust you to do certain things? Do they plan? Do they control what happens in your day-to-day running and so on? So these functions are also happening in your homes, and they also, you know, delegate like different chores and so on. So it's the same thing that management do with a lot more responsibility, all right, because they are being monitored in terms of their performance within the organization, and that equates to dollars and cents. All right, so it is now activity time, which we would do a easy activity. Let's read each sentence and come up with which function will actually fit each sentence. We're going to take 2 minutes. All right, so let's look at the sentences and see how we could best fit in the management functions that we just looked at. So number 1, or A, developing long-term and short-term goals for a firm. So this one is very easy. What's the answer? Planning, correct. And this is the first one that we did, right? So this is looking ahead to the future, This one is about writing your mission statement, your vision statement, your aims and objectives, and ensuring that your goals for your organization fit your objectives, and that you review it from time to time, because sometimes your objectives or your mission would change. So definitely you need to revisit that, especially dependent on what is going on in the economy at the time. All right. So number 2, or B, rewarding employees for their excellent performance. And we spoke about that. Right? We talked about mommy and daddy buying bikes and PS4s and those kind of things for you when you do well at school, or if you do your chores, or if you help someone along the way, right? So motivating. And remember, we have 2 types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. One comes from within, and the other one is external, using different incentives. Okay? Number 3, or C, ensuring that employees are clear on the tasks that are assigned to them. And this one is directing. So ensure you give clear information, like misgiven information on your activity. You have the sentences, and we just went through the management functions. So as employees, giving them information or on their day-to-day tasks, you need to ensure that they understand exactly what their tasks are, right? And 4, or D, ensuring that all factors of production are available for each department. And we know that factors of production are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. All right? And we would look further at those factors in another lesson to come. Number 5, or E, ensuring that all departments work together. And this is, it starts with cooperation, coordinating, right? So we need to ensure production work along with marketing, that works along with R&D, that works along with finance, that works along with HR. So everybody have their task within the department, yes, but they must all work together for the end goal, which is for revenue, profits, right? Next one, assigning authority or responsibility across the organization. And this one is delegating, giving the responsibility to employees within the organization so that they can feel some sense of belonging and to be creative as well and bring more to the organization. And the last one, ensure that employees perform matches the performance matches the desired standard, and this is controlling. You're overseeing to ensure no mistakes and stuff like that are made. All right? So if you have these as your answer, you're quite correct. If you got one wrong, please review it and ensure that you know your functions, because they come within the multiple choice section of the exam, which is very much going to happen, right? You may say 1 or 2 questions, and read the questions carefully and answer the question, all right, as best as you can. So we're moving along. So just reviewing your answers to ensure that they are correct. All right. Okay. So we are going to look at responsibilities of management. We looked at the functions, but what are the actual responsibilities of management to the different stakeholders within business, right? And I always tell my students, who are the stakeholders that you see coming in and around your canteen before I even give them the answer? Who do they see coming on the compound to the canteen? And they would say stuff like, miss the suppliers who come with the truck. They would say, miss us as the customers, the employees, the employers, and those are correct. And I would say, who are also stakeholders who you don't see come to the organization or come to the canteen, but you know that they exist, the business have a responsibility to them, and one of them might say miss the government, miss society, and they're quite right. All right, so moving ahead, we would see that there are different stakeholders within our society that businesses are very much entitled to give some responsibility to. All right, so we are going to look at the different responsibilities of the stakeholder, of management to the stakeholders. So the first one that we're actually going to look at is the owner of the organization, because the owner of the organization may not be the one that actually runs or manage the day-to-day operations. All right, so the management to the owner is to ensure that the business itself is safe for the employees, that they organize the financial records, that is the expenses and the income that is actually coming within the organization, and to ensure that the firm operates within the law of the country that it operates. All right. Also, it's supposed to bring profits to the owner, which is the major responsibility there of management, to ensure that it brings profits to the owner as well. Okay. Number two, we have employees. Management's responsibility to the employees are, one, to treat them fairly and with respect, and also give them a proper wage, identify what their roles and functions are, what their daily tasks and duties are, which we spoke about earlier. They are supposed to ensure proper communication happens through whichever medium management desires to use with employees. And we have different mediums where you could use WhatsApp, emails, memos, those kind of things. You have both informal and formal methods of communication. All right? Wherever the employees whatever skills the employees lack or abilities, management is also supposed to ensure that they give some sort of training or development for those employees. So you would see a lot of teachers and probably parents in different professions going to different workshops and training and so on. And that is to help them to develop their skills, to become more productive within the organization. All right? Employees are also, management's responsibilities to employees are to also ensure that they have their resources, meaning the raw materials that they need on a daily basis to go out in the field to work, or to produce what they have to produce within the organization. So if you have a bakery, the workers come and they know this is what they're making, bread, cakes, and pastries. Management is supposed to ensure that there is butter, flour, sugar, milk, those kind of things. The pans, the oven is working well, the refrigerators where the raw materials would be stored, and all of those things are well organized, right? So that is very important. We are moving on to another stakeholder. So management's responsibility to the government is also to ensure that taxes are paid, because that's a stipulation, right? NIS and payee and health surcharge and stuff like that, that it is paid to the government so that the government would do what they need to do with the money. Also, in case anything should happen to a worker on the job, NIS is paid adequately so that there are no issues or no problems if the worker is to go to NIS to claim if they are injured. All right. Customer. Management's responsibility to the customer is to ensure to have a high quality product for the customer and ensure that the quality meets price, right? In an earlier class, we talked about money and the value of money, and money being equated to quality. So therefore, remember we talked about the Benz or the Rolls Royce in comparison to the B13, right? So quality products for the right price. And as well to offer after-sales services. Parents, or you go to the canteen and you buy a cake and the cake is smelling rancid, and as well you're seeing mold and stuff, you take it back to the canteen and in a respectful manner you speak to the owner or the employee, and they would obviously offer you some redress, as in probably giving you another cake or offering you your money back or giving you an option to take something else. All right? After sales services. So you have the right to complain respectfully and in a timely manner. Let's say, for example, your parents went to courts and bought a fridge, plug in the fridge, and then it doesn't work. They would call for technical support because they would have like warranties or guarantees and stuff like that, and they would probably send a technician to see what's going on with that, right? If you buy a car, you have a warranty for a period of time. So after sales service as well is very important. And customers want to know that when they interact with a business, the business ensure is just not only to buy the product, but to ensure after that the product is okay and they're okay with the use of it. All right. Next, we have society. And society holds businesses to a very high standard. All right. And society is very important. All of them are important, but I would say society is very important in comparison to the others because society now utilizes social media platforms, right? So if your business doesn't adhere to rules and regulations and what is supposed to be done, definitely they are going to light you up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is, and then once one person see it and share it and start to comment and so on, other people who had the same interaction with your business is definitely going to light you up too. So they would obviously have your business name in a bad light. All right, and people are going to definitely watch you. Okay, right. In terms of society assists management to ensure that they understand the rules and regulations of the country and also to ensure that they follow them. All right. They develop a sense of social corporate responsibility, and they ensure that projects and different educational stuff are done. Let me give you an example. Remember, Marshall Montano used to advertise for B-Mobile. And at that point in time, he had a case for fighting in the court, allegedly, let's say. And there is a page called Fixing TNT on Facebook that really ran with that information, and people signed petitions and so on. I went to TSTT and said, listen, this is a local company, and this guy had a case in the court, and you know, people, children, everybody looking at him as a icon, somebody who is big in society, and he did something wrong. So therefore, you could no longer endorse him. And TSTT had to listen because it's a local entity, and TSTT had to cut him loose. And after they cut him loose, Digicel took him up. Digicel is not from Trinidad and Tobago, right? So they took him, and he started to advertise for them. And obviously what would have happened is that his following or followers would have followed him over to Digicel. So it would have definitely had an impact for TSTT, but at the same time, these groups, these watchdogs as we call them, they definitely have a say and a really big say as to what happens within your organization. So you really have to be on your P's and your Q's in terms of what happened, right? And there are a lot of groups within society that looks on to see whether it's political or not, to see what happens and who does what, and speak about it, because they want a good impact for society, and they want to ensure that things run according to the law. All right. So this one really has a big impact with your business. There was another instance where everybody knows of this place in country, that Suckhole, that sells really good food. And one time I went onto Facebook and I saw this publication about them, and it had over thousands and thousands of comments and views and whatever. And it was free publicity, yes, for Suckhole. And people were complaining about customer service and the prices and all those things. But at the end of it, people say, you know what, I would go back. They would go back because the food was really, really good. So sometimes, yes, society have a negative impact on your business, but it also has a positive impact, right? Because people wait like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours for food, and still they were willing to go back. All right, so Stakeholder is obviously doing something right, although they have different aspects of the organization that they need to look at. All right, so society, yeah. All right, so we have society, we have customers, we have government. Just going back, we have employees and we have owners as stakeholders within a business, and management have some responsibilities to them. All right, so as we looked at each one, we also have activity number 2. All right, don't worry, we're almost there. So let's go. Same thing. You're reading the sentences, you're taking, this one is so much easier. We're gonna take a minute and then we're gonna answer the question. So let's go. Okay, so let's go to the answers now. All right, so number 1, or A, provides proper working conditions. Give me the answer. Right, so the owner, right? They're supposed to ensure that the facilities are good in terms of ventilation, signage, you have your resources and those kind of things. Sponsor community projects. If you have society, you are quite right. Right? C, pays all taxes that are due. And once we know deals with money, is the government. Ensure that the businesses pay their taxes. The taxes is important because the taxes is what the government would use as a form of income to redistribute to the different ministries so that we can get roads, pay doctors, lawyers, teachers, and offer you infrastructure and stuff like that. Okay? Providing good quality products at a reasonable price, and this is customers. This is what we expect. And the last one, provide an opportunity for training and career development. So which one we done use? Employees. And it's important that employees receive the training and the development that they need, adequate training and development to ensure that your business succeeds, right? The more training they have, the better it should be. And once you measure the performance from inception, along the way, you should see that on their performance appraisal, they should start, probably if they started at 5s, they should probably end up along the way of 1s and 2s, because they should be making, they should be doing things in a shorter space of time and ensuring that things are done at a better quality. All right? So if you have all of these, give yourselves a pat on the back and go in the fridge for a snack if there's any remaining. All right, so basically this is what we had to do today. So here are your answers again, and I do thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next class.